Using EQ8 superpowers, it is easy to go from a pencil sketch on graph paper to a pieced block. The superpowers come in when EQ prints out your templates, gives you sizes for rotary cutting, or prints out a foundation pattern for you to use to create your design in fabric. Hi, I'm Deb. I've been using Electric Quilt software for 25 years and have created quilts like this Dresden plate using it. You too can create beautiful original quilts using EQ8. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to use the Easy Draw workspace and its tools to create a simple 9-patch and then transform it into a Jacob's ladder. Let's get started. Okay, so when you first open up EQ8, it says, "Welcome, what would you like to do?" Today we are going to design a block from scratch, so we're going to click right here. There are a couple of different styles of drawing that you can use in EQ. Today we're going to use Easy Draw, so we're going to click on this one here. Just to let you know, I have a bulleted list over here of things that I don't want to forget, so if I keep looking over here, you'll know what I'm looking at. So on the precision bar, which is this gray area at the top here, we can adjust our block width and block height. Right now it says 8 inches by 8 inches. I'm going to change that to 3 inches by 3 inches. So you just highlight the area, type in your 3, press enter, and again 3, and press enter. Now it looks exactly the same as it did, but it's now going to give us 3-inch blocks instead of 8-inch blocks. The dotted lines here, you'll see, are graph paper, and these, if we go up here to the middle of the bar, there's an area with a blue line around it. It says graph paper cells. We can click that button and turn that graph paper off. If you don't like the graph paper, you can turn it off. I do like to have it on, so I always leave it on. Right to the right of that, you can choose how many horizontal sections you want, how many vertical sections you want. Today we're going to be creating a 9-patch block. So I am going to put in, we want 3 horizontal sections across the top and 3 down the sides. I'm going to change those 5s to 3s. Put in a 3, enter, 3, enter. Now remember, be sure and remember that 3 means 3 sections and not 3 lines. So we are counting the sections, the patches within the block, not the lines in the block. So we have 3 grid sections. These green dots you can see here are snap points. Those are called snap points. And that is where your lines will begin and end, is on one of those snap points. So you have to set up your snap points where you want them. And it can be a little tricky, but remember, the number of snap points must be a multiple of the grid sections that you have. Multiplying your grid sections times 2 is a good place to start. So we have 3 sections. We're going to multiply that by 2, and that gives us 6. We should have 6 snaps horizontal and 6 snaps vertical. That assures us that we'll have a snap point at each of these intersections. And then we have some in the middle too. So we're going to start the drawing process now. Come over here to the drawing tool menu and click on line. And you see that the cursor has a pencil on it now. If you take the pencil close to one of the snap points where you want the line to start, and you hold the button, your left mouse button down, and drag the mouse to the point where you want the line to stop and release it. And there is your first line. Okay, now I'm gonna draw another line here. Click it and drag it down here, like this. Now, if you make a mistake, not to worry. My favorite button in the whole place is the undo button. Over here on the left, this little arrow pointing to the left. Click on that button, and the last line that you made disappears. Keep clicking to go back multiple lines. Okay, now the important thing to remember in Easy Draw is that every line must connect at both ends to another line or to the block's edge. Think of it like the lines in a puzzle. Each line needs to link perfectly with another line so all the pieces fit together. If you have any floating lines that don't link to another line or to the block's edge, it'll disappear. It'll disappear faster than chocolate at a quilt retreat. Okay, so let's do some drawing. Let's draw in our 9 patch. I'm going to start right here. Draw a line down here. Draw a line down here. Draw, okay, across here. And draw across here. Now we have what quilters recognize as a 9 patch. Okay, now in order to transform this into a Jacob's ladder, we need to add some more lines. I'm going to divide this section here into a 4 patch. 4 patch here. There'll be a 4 patch in each corner actually. So there's a 4 patch here. There's a 4 patch in the center square. This is so easy and I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. It makes designing quilts so easy. Now, in order to create the ladder, we're going to draw a diagonal line across here. Now, I dropped that line. It should have gone all the way up to this other corner. And so I need to fix that. There are 2 different ways that you can fix this. Again, I already pointed out the undo button, which completely deletes the line. And then you can start over and draw it in. And there's another thing we can do here. I'll show you. If you come over to the drawing tool menu and click on the edit button. Now our cursor has changed to an arrow. And whatever you click on with that arrow becomes selected. So this line has been selected to be edited. You can pick up the end of this line and drag it on up to take to the point where it needs to be. And then I will come back over to the drawing tool menu and click on line again and put in our last line for Jacob's ladder. When we have the block as we want it, now we're going to go to the color tab. Up here at the top, there's a tab that says color. I'm going to click on that. And I've got a pink fabric color. You have choices here of fabrics, lots of different fabrics to choose from. And here are solid colors. And I'm going to pick out this pink color to use here. And I'm going to pull out my block so that I color the right patches. In our fabric tools, we have a choice of a paintbrush, spray can, and lots of different choices here. I'm going to use the paintbrush today, right now. And I'm going to fill in the sections I want to be this pink color. Here and here. And I'm going to scan through here and find a light blue. See how many colors there are available. Maybe this one right here. And just fill in all the other patches as a light blue. Okay. Once we have the colors as we want them, then we're going to go to the Print and Export tab up at the top here. Print and Export. We have the choices of printing out templates to make our quilt with. We have the choice of printing out a foundation pattern to use to make our quilt. And we have a choice of printing out rotary cutting instructions. Let's take a look first at templates first. We can edit the name here. We don't need worktable block. We're just going to call it Jacob's Ladder. The finished block size default, it uses the size that we put in on our work table, 3 inches by 3 inches. We could click here and put in custom block size, whatever size we wanted. We're just going to use the size from the work table, which was 3 inch by 3 inch. Default is a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we do want it to print the seam allowance. The key block, print key block, means it's going to print a small block on your paper to show you what the block looks like. We're going to print 1 copy, and we click on the preview button here. It'll show us what the page is going to look like. This is on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, so it shows you your key block, what it looks like, and then your 2 templates here you can cut out to make your block with. Okay, I'm going to close this. If we were ready to print, there was a print button there. Could have used to print it also. Now we're going to go to the foundation. Over here, foundation. EQ automatically figures out your sections and numbering. If we click on numbering here, each section is lettered A, B, C, D, E, F, G, on, and each section is numbered as to how the pieces should be sewn together, in what order. If you don't like the way that EQ has decided to do it, you can click down here to change your numbering. You can also change your sections. Back here, if you want to change the sections, you click here. I want to section and number myself without EQ's help. And you can click on Start Over. EQ, I have never had a problem with the way that EQ decided to section and number anything. EQ's very good at it. So there are options. Options on your foundation. Again, default is the work table block size, and you can change that if you want. Default is a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we do want that printed. We can have it do just a plain line drawing, or we can have it do the line drawing with a grayscale fill to show the different colors within the block, or we can use colored ink and do a color fill. I don't usually like to use the colored ink just because I don't want to use colored ink. So the grayscale fill, we'll take a look at that and see how that looks. We want it to print the numbering. We want it to separate the units. I don't want it to mirror. I want it to print the block name. Many times I'll print out extra pages and they will get stuck in a drawer. And 6 months later, when I pull it out, I want to have the block name on there so I know what it is. Print as many blocks as fit. Also, I always do that because you can't, whether you're running the printing on paper or on fabric, you can't run the paper or the fabric back through and print another block if you want to. So you may as well print as many blocks as fit the first time through. Number of copies, we're just going to look at one right now. So here's a preview of what Jacob's ladder, 3-inch Jacob's ladder would look like with these sections and numbering laid out on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I'm going to close that and go back and go into options and show you what color fill is going to look like too. If we preview that, oh, it's very, very faint, but you can see the pink and the blue colors. And that's very helpful because sometimes with foundation sewing, I can get confused, is that supposed to be a dark color or is it supposed to be the light color? And so it's nice to have that printed on the fabric, either the colors or I like to use the grayscale fill. So using EQ8 Superpowers, it is easy to go from a pencil sketch on graph paper to a pieced block. Every block is a canvas, every line a potential masterpiece. Happy quilting and may your creativity be boundless. Thank you.